Hi, everybody. We've arrived. It's 2020. And so today's video is going to be all about stinking thinking. We want to clear the strongholds in our mind, the conditions that we're holding on to, and get off to a really good start because we're just entering now the second week of 2020. So I had an email sent to me just recently, after the New Year retreat, in fact, asking about the conditions of the mind that we call stinking thinking. And I just want to say this. There is one problem, which is a perceptual problem. There is one condition, which is, I believe I'm separate from God, and one solution, which is 2020 vision, to see with Christ's vision that I am an idea in the mind of God. I could never be separate from my source, no matter how much I try. I am still divine perfection. I am a soul, I am eternal, and I am not what I think I am. But because I believe I am, I call this a condition. So first things first, I'm going to use one of the steps from the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, and that first step is all about an admission of a condition. So first, I need to admit that I am powerless over alcohol. So if it's not alcohol that you're dealing with, it's another condition, which is a thinking problem. So it could be, I'm a liar, I can't seem to stop lying, I steal, I can't seem to stop stealing, even stealing people's time. I am an energy vampire. I manipulate people to get my needs met. Maybe I'm full of pride, and I don't think I am, but my results show me that I am. I might be arrogant and jealous. Look at your life and say, this is a condition, because it keeps getting reflected. The world keeps showing me that I have a condition. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to tell you a great story because I heard this story a few weeks ago, and to me, it was just so powerful. I can't wait to share it. The story is about Gandhi. We all love Gandhi. I mean, when he was on the planet, he was a shaker and a mover. He stood for truth, and boy, oh boy, he made things happen. But he too, like all of us, are works in progress. And when I say works in progress, I mean we all have conditions. We all need to look at them. We all need to admit that we're powerless over them unless we have a power greater than ourselves that we turn our life and our will over to. We're not going to be able to fix a thing. So let me tell you the story first, and then we'll go on to talk about other things. So Gandhi, when he was on Earth, he had an ashram in India. And one day, Gandhi and his friend wanted to go off somewhere. So Gandhi asked his son, he said, can you drive us to this place and drop us off? And while we're there, do you mind to take the car to the mechanic, get it fixed, and then pick us up? So the son happily agreed, and so off they all went. So once Gandhi's son dropped them off, he went to the mechanic, left the car, and he noticed there was a movie theater across the street. So joyfully, he went into, I get to watch a movie. So he sat, he watched the movie, and then he noticed the second movie coming up was going to be really good, so he stayed for that one too. So he was in the movie theater for probably three hours or more. Anyway, after the movie, he went to the mechanic to pick up the car and drove off to pick up his dad and his friend. So when he arrived, Gandhi said, wow, that took a long time. And Gandhi's son said, yeah, there was something wrong with the car. There was more wrong with it than we expected, so it took longer. Well, Gandhi's friend said, no, that's not true. I called the mechanics, and they said you went to the show. You were at the movies. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, he was caught in a lie. And he felt so dumb and so vulnerable. But he said, "Oh, I am so sorry. I am really sorry. I went to the show. I got caught up in the movies, and I'm really sorry." So anyway, he said, let's go back to the ashram and hop in and let's go. And so Gandhi's friend got in the car, but you know what? Gandhi said, "No, I think I'll walk." And of course, Gandhi's son was devastated. He said, "Dad, no, like, come on, I'll drive you back." And Gandhi's son said, no, I want to walk back. So they drove back to the ashram, and a while later comes Gandhi, and so the son felt really, really bad. He went up to his dad and he said, "Dad, I know you're so angry with me. I am so sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry that I lied to you." And Gandhi said, "No, son. No, stop." He said, "I'm not angry with you." He said, "I didn't take a ride because I was angry with you. I didn't want to ride in the car because I wanted to walk back and contemplate, what is it in me that I've cultivated that my son would lie to me?" Think about that story. That is so powerful. Gandhi is such a master. Really, that's mastery, is not to project your anger or to project anything, but to own it and to see that I've cultivated that in me somewhere, that could be in my space. And a master sees both sides. They don't project, they see that everything that happens came from here. That story was so powerful to me, and I was thinking about, in terms of the Course in Miracles, which brought me to actually it's not a lesson, it's chapter 21, Reason and Perception. I'll just read a little bit here. It says, "Projection makes perception." Now, I know if you're a Course student, you've probably read this a million times, and so have I. But when I heard that story about Gandhi, I really wanted to read this again, because I realized that, in words, we read these things and we go, yeah, okay, well, that's true. But when you hear an actual story of a man, Gandhi especially, that we all have such adoration for, we hold him in high esteem, talk about his own defect, to own it, and to see that he had cultivated something in himself, that this would show up in his son, and he was willing to own it and not be angry at his son, but to simply own it and go in deep contemplation and contemplate where he had cultivated deceit, because that's about deceit. So Reason and Perception in chapter 21 says, "Projection makes perception. The world you see is what you gave it, nothing more. And although it is nothing more than that, it is not less." So it is a perfect witness to a thought system, to what you're holding in your mind. As within, so without. But we project it. We keep blaming. How could you be late? Why were you so late? And why did you lie to me? And rah, rah, rah. But Gandhi, being the master that he is, he stood still and he took that in and he contemplated, what have I cultivated in me? That person, think about your own life. What have you cultivated in you? When you look at the results that you have in your life, no matter what those results are, you have cultivated something in your mind. You're holding on to something, a grievance, pride, arrogance, anger. You're holding something in your mind. You're cultivating it, mulling it over. It's still there. And the world will bear witness to what it is you're holding on to. And then I go back to that first step that says, I came to admit an admission of a condition. And my life is unmanageable because I can't control it out here. I can't get that person to stop lying to me. I can't get that person to stop stealing from me. I have to own. That's a disowned part. I have projected it. I have disowned that truth that I am deceitful, I am stealing, I am lying, I am cheating, that could be in my space. And that's a master. That's where I want to go in my life. I mean, it's not easy work because it requires that you get radical about, be radically honest about yourself. And when something happens outside of you, to say, it's in me, I've cultivated that, and I'm so powerful, my thoughts are so powerful that I can shift my thinking and get back into alignment with truth and see a different world. It's possible because everything comes out of my mind. So when I read this Reason and Perception in chapter 21, and then read this other line, this next line, as a man thinketh, so does he perceive. I mean, that just drives it home. The story of Gandhi just drives it home. And what a master. I mean, the message that he's giving us is don't continue to project it. Just see it as really good information and take it inside and ask over and over again, what am I cultivating? What am I holding on to that this would be happening in my life? Why would my son lie to me? Why would my daughter do this? Why would my husband say this? Why would, because that's all you can have if you're cultivating ignorance. But if you get back into alignment with truth and you see that everything that's happening in the world first came out of your mind, and you own it, because listen, we're in duality. We're this and this. We're both. Like the yin yang, you see the black and the white, you see they're both there. In this sphere is both. And if I can transcend this, then I see both equally as I'm being challenged to learn and to grow. And then other times I'm being held and supported, and that's good too. But when you're being really pushed and challenged by something outside of yourself, to say, yeah, it's in me, and I've disowned it, but I'm going to own it, and I'm going to forgive it. It's just part of duality. It doesn't make me, it's not who I am. I am an eternal soul. There's no perfection in this life. I'm not in love with this silly fantasy of perfection. There's duality, and I accept my humanity. I forgive it, and I move on and know in truth that I am whole, perfect, and complete. This is beautiful. I love this story. So, first step in Alcoholics Anonymous is I came to admit that I am powerless over alcohol. We can replace that word alcohol with a stronghold in your mind, with that condition, and that my life is unmanageable. If I keep projecting that condition, my life will be a mess. It is a mess. If you look at the conditions or the results you're getting and you're not changing your mind, your life's a mess. You can't manage it from the same level that you created it. So this is where we invite a power greater than ourselves to come into our life, to come into your heart, come into me. Here I am, God. Here am I. Come and be with me. Awaken me, liberate me from the suffering, because I am willing to see my defect. I am willing to see that and to let it go. So we look at all of this with the grace of the Holy Spirit and set ourselves free. So isn't that great? Isn't that a beautiful story? Can't you just take that story and apply it to your own life and see how and where you're cultivating things that keep getting you the same results? Be the master in your life and own it all. Don't project it. Own it all and learn to laugh at it. I think that's why Buddha laughed when he reached liberation, enlightenment. I mean, you can't be liberated until you're enlightened. You see it all, and then you're liberated because you're above it. So be the master of your own life. I know that's what I'm working on, and let's all of us transcend this nonsense. Anyway, with that, I would like to say I'm excited to see all of you who plan on joining me at A Course in Miracles this Sunday, where I'm going to be teaching the principles of A Course in Miracles in a really simplistic way. I'm going to break it down so that you can understand it and apply it to your life in a way that just makes sense. You know, the Course in Miracles is a fabulous book, but we are so programmed. You know, the ego's mindset is just, it's stinking thinking, really. So we're trying to read the Course in Miracles through with all these filters over our eyes, and it doesn't often make sense. So I'm going to break it down and help you to understand it in a very like kindergarten kind of way that you can apply to your life. So I hope to see you there. I'm excited. Saturday night, don't forget, we're doing a breathwork session. It's our first breathwork of 2020. It's going to prepare everyone for the Lunar New Year that's just coming in a few weeks. We're going to breathe out all those conditions, all those strongholds in the mind. We're going to breathe them out. We're going to let them all go, and we're going to fill up with the divine energy that's in our air. We're going to connect with the divine energy, the space between the molecules, the quantum field of everything God, and feel really good. So won't you join with us? You won't be disappointed. And what's the other thing I want to say? Oh yeah, I love you. I really love you. You know that I do. I'll be back in just a few days with something else in this series that I want to do about changing your mind about who you think you are. Mwah. See you soon.